Hey, folks, and welcome once again to the Hungry Bleak Presents Comics Culture News. I am Antonio Pomares, aka the Hungry Bleak, and joining me as always is I don't know. There's not there aren't like acres of flowers wouldn't be enough to give this person right here. Uh, Editor in chief of BlackSciFi.com, acclaimed writer of huge favorites like Route 3, Mine to Avenge. Uh, that was a selfless one because that's one of my favorite series ever. Soul Nebula and Green Lantern. Yes, he's written Green Lantern, folks. This is Robert Jeffries II. How you doing, sir?
Doing good, man. Doing good. How about yourself?
I am doing well. Aside from the heat, it's okay. We all
Yeah.
know I'm not a summer person. I was born in the ice and snow. I'm not going to sing the song, but I was literally born in ice and snow. Winter, that's
Yeah.
fine. But you know what else is hot? These new comic book industry is always hot. There's always something new and fresh and
Mhm.
exciting happening. So let's get right into it, shall we, folks? So
Let's do it.
first up, we're going to talk about Kickstarters. You know how I love to do talk about Kickstarters and get things out there. This is one for Latan, Broken City.
Nice.
This looks like a fun. Whoops, excuse me. This looks like a fun one. Basically, Latan is a story about the depths one person will go, even losing himself, to redirect the dark path his city has fallen into. I'm not going to make the joke like I did last week about you have failed this city, even though I kind of just did. I apologize automatically. I'm not a father, but I will tell dad jokes, fortunately. So stepfather jokes, I
Yes.
guess, are fine. I don't know. But this looks really great. As of this recording, you have 20 days. But by the as of this recording, you have 20 days. When this comes out, you will have a little bit less than that. But they are well on their way, which is great. They have 44 backers as of this recording again, and they are like over halfway there, which is awesome. Once they hit that goal, they'll start being stretch goals, such like that. But yes, please go and check this out. There's even a trailer that you can check out on YouTube. I absolutely love that. I love crowdfunding. It's always cool to me. I have been a part of some of your crowdfunding, sir, and I'm always happy with what you bring me. I love the fact of being a part of crowdfunding and bringing something that was in an artist writer's head, bring it to fruition and bring it actually physically into this world.
Yeah. It's Kickstarter has definitely helped indie comic book creators, and I think creators across the board. But it is an invaluable tool when used right. So
Yeah.
um, but yeah, it's and one of the other things is that Kickstarter has really leaned into um, specifically focusing on comic book campaigns. So I think there's somebody has a position that acts as like a liaison with the comic book creator community and Kickstarter. So it's just like finding the best way to get these works out, to people. And it looks like this is one of them. I'll need to go and check it out. But just looking at the design of the
Yeah.
character, it has kind of a scorpion kind of vibe to it from like
Yes.
Mortal
Yes.
Kombat, but it also feels like a ninja athletic gear, type
Mhm.
of vibe. So yeah, so I definitely will go and check this out. But Kickstarter is turning into a comic book store, essentially like where you can get physical or digital copies,
Yeah.
of work.
Um, Greg Anderson. I'm gonna butcher his last name. I've said it 1,000 different times, and each time I've
Mhm.
said it wrong. Greg Anderson. At least he had a perfect way of saying it. He's like, it's like a way of pre-ordering the comics, just like you
Yeah,
would in a shop or
yeah,
whatever. This is
yeah,
just a different way of pre-ordering more of an indie comic, and I love that idea because that is what it is. I think the pandemic really spurred this on because the amount of Kickstarters that were out there that they had to have someone there. I unfortunately did not answer the phone, so I guess someone else got the job at to be the liaison, which is fine. I mean, the mulligan. It happens. Um, but yeah, I think the person's been in their position for maybe a year or so. But
probably.
but
Yeah,
I think that's a great step and really um brings home that they really are focused on this department in essence of the comic book um uh, uh section of Kickstarter.
yeah,
how much is going on and how much they see is being put into them, because you're
Mhm.
starting to see bigger companies do this.
Yeah.
Skybound has had a few of them.
Yep. Yeah.
One
And
now
that.
going for G.I. Joe.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's even that leads to like that's a whole nother another
Yeah,
discussion about
yeah.
yeah.
I'm
but
just gonna sip my iced chai. Yeah.
but yeah, I remember, and this is actually it's not comic books, but I remember Brandon Sanderson did a Kickstarter for like 4 or 5 novels, like a pre-orders for like novels that he said, you know what, the pandemic, I'm just going to write books. And he made a
Yeah,
lot of writers like, okay, we got to sit down and do our ish. And he just, I think he funded within like the first day or something. So,
yeah,
well, that's like the extreme, like more kind of like popular, well known writer. And then, on the indie side, it's kind of a hustle, to get that. So I'm glad to see that they're getting closer to their goal.
yeah.
So,
It's very nice to see them putting in that work and really driving it, because a lot of times they will be projects we love, project we love,
mhm,
and that's so important
yeah.
for it. So I'm happy that they did. I'm happy that they saw it. I'm happy that they had the vision to go, hey, we need to bring someone in.
Mhm,
I'm hoping that they actually talk to some of the creators too as to how can we help you? How can we
yeah.
help you do? I'm hoping that there was some type of like back and forth, and then that's why they needed to have this liaison, this person, to oversee this division, this department of of um of a Kickstarter, because it has to be its own division, I would think, at this point, some type of
Mhm,
bubble, for lack of
yeah.
a better term for it, which is
Definitely.
awesome. But what else is awesome is Brandon Thomas. I think that we can all agree on that one, right? I mean, I'm
Yep.
not going to bring out my myriad of T-shirts or comics or what have you about this, but yes, Robert, why don't you tell us about this comic that Brandon Thomas was a part of?
Yeah, yeah. So there's this book called The Incal, Kill Wolfhead, and it seems it's a part of a kind of a larger series. It's the Incal and so and so. But this series focuses on a character named Kill Wolfhead, and the vibe that I got is that he's a science fiction adventurer. I guess I'm not saying in the vein of Buck Rogers, but he's an adventurer with like a futuristic, science fiction background, but he's gained a lot of enemies over the years. So he is the victim of an attack, and he is fighting now through a coma. So his children, who are tasked with using technology of the time to go inside of his, I guess, mind space or brainscape, however you want to say it, and attempt to save their father from the inside. It's so I don't. It's
Oh,
That's kind of the general gist of it. The vibe that I've gotten is that it's kind of a not too trippy, but it definitely plays within the genre of science fiction, sci-fi. And I
mhm.
think that if you follow Brandon Thomas's work over his creator own efforts like Horizon, then you have something like Noble, and then Excellence, and he's done work on Voltron. Um, he's had experience with working playing around in this sandbox.
Mhm.
So pairing him up with Pete Woods, who is doing the art, and Humanoids in general has, at least from the titles that I've seen, they skew towards like science fiction, kind of related titles. We were talking about something like H1, which was their um, from what I remember, it was their kind of super powered or superhero universe,
Yeah.
and um, had a, from what I remember, like kind of a more science fictiony and less, I mean, more of a science fictiony background. And so this one, I don't want to say it looks trippy, but it's just like it is definitely different. One of the things I'll admit is that when I was looking at the cover, I didn't realize that this dude had the dog's head. So it's just like what do you call it, like anamorphic, or I always get that wrong, like anamorphic, blah blah blah.
Anthro,
Anthro,
want to say we're probably all butchering it, but you know what we mean,
yeah,
folks.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, it's they describe it as a psychedelic his kids going through like a psychedelic landscape, grim and grotesque danger, the truly unexpected. So I think that's the vibe that you're getting, with this. But definitely, I think worth checking out because Brandon he's one of the best writers
Yeah.
out there, and it looks like the work he's doing with Pete Woods is excellent. So
Yeah, this looks really cool. And even like the art itself just looks really good. And I kind of like the idea of having to go into his mind to save him because of this
mhm.
vicious attack that he has had upon him, and he's in his coma. And for the
Yeah,
fact that his kids have to like go in there and try to bring him back and save him, the art is just killer.
mhm.
Honestly, this is no filler, all killer. Thank you, Guy Fieri, for that one. This is it looks really cool, and like I said, I'm a fan of Brandon Thomas, but I've only read like some of the H1 stuff.
Mhm.
And I know that they do a lot of like high concept sci-fi, like
That's
kind
yeah,
of like
yeah.
I always think whenever I think of them, I always think of like the Barbarella for some reason.
Mhm.
Like Barbarella is one of those things that as a kid I watched it and I was like, I don't know what is going on, but this is some wild sci-fi
Yeah,
mess happening. That's always what I think about it. So, but I'm interested in this. I want to check this out, and I also want to go back and read like some of the Inkle stuff too, just to see what that was like.
yeah,
So I can get a full backstory of the character because look, I want to know why you have a wolf head.
mhm.
Why the name Kill Wolfhead alone is just you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
like to name a book like that is cool. So I really want to do check this out and see what's going on. So thank you very much for that, Robert. Always love
yeah,
seeing like what you're coming out because you scour like the entire multiverse, omniverse, whatever term you want to call it, to see what's going on. And I love that vibe there.
cool.
So what else has a great vibe and is new is the fact that we got a season 2 premiere last weekend of My Adventures with Superman, which is on Toonami, and then you can watch it the next day on Max. It was a two parter or two episodes, should I say, so it was an hour. Really great stuff. This series has really gotten nice reviews and reaction from folks, so it's great. So
Yeah.
obviously what they're going to do is they're going to make a comic book, which they are. As of this, we are speaking to you on Wednesday, so you are probably reading this because it's coming out Tuesday. There's going to be My Adventures with Superman #1. This is going to follow the adventures, obviously, of Lois, Jimmy, and obviously Clark, Kal-El, Superman. This picks up after the explosive ending of last season. So I'm going to actually just give you the description. So flying from the screen to the page, it's Superman picking up from the explosive end of season 1. You all remember that. If you don't, please go back and watch it because
Yeah.
it was a perfect culmination of the actual season.
Mhm.
Clark's about to spend Christmas alone in Metropolis. Though he's feeling a bit down and out, a tip about a monster in the sewer sends Superman, Lois, and Jimmy into action. But what is the monster that can absorb anything it touches, and why is it here in Metropolis? So there's a nice time gap in between. So this is perfect that you have a comic that's going to fill in the time gap of what was happening between the end of season 1 and the beginning of season 2. Because when you come back in season 2, you feel like there's some time passed because Lois and Clark are now together, but they're saying "I love you."
Yeah.
So yes, they go through a lot, but that's time. How much time has gone by? I'm not exactly sure, but I'm enjoying it so far. This series makes me want to read Superman comics, and I'm not a big
Mhm.
Superman reader, but it makes me want to do that, and I really enjoy it. And I want to check out the comic to see what happened in between. I don't know if this is going to be an ongoing or if it's going to be just like a limited series, but either way, I'm excited for it. I really enjoy the characters. It has a great humor. The art is diabolical. The animation is great. The fights are really cool. It has almost like a bit of an anime feel. You can feel it
Yeah.
too,
Yeah.
and it has one of the best openings out there. And I love the fact that we get a um a pre Deathstroke Wade Wilson,
Mhm.
which is awesome.
Yeah. No, I it's one of our favorite shows, like more in the Jeffrey household, as far as comic book adaptations or whatever. Like you mentioned, the series has an anime vibe to it, and I think
Mhm.
that's to its credit, and I think it's smart because first of all, you're using a different medium, or at least a part of animation anime, and because there's a large following of people who follow anime who may not follow, Western comic books, anime or manga. And there's even a part where he transforms, and people were making jokes like it's a Sailor Moon type of transformation. And I'm like, so you don't think the animators understood what the assignment was? So I think that it's done a really good job of appealing to people who are Superman fans from the comic books, even from the movies and previous TV shows, but then also an entire segment of folks who probably have never, who aren't necessarily like huge Superman fans. So I'm also really happy that they're doing in continuity stories with the comic books to just kind of grow that universe. So I'll definitely be interested in checking it out because the whole transmedia side of things is very interesting to me, where you're trying to build a new canon and the lore and all that. So definitely want to check that out.
Yeah, especially to have something that can cross age barriers too, because you can have this first, but I'm 46 and I'm really enjoying it because I know Superman, I know the lore and everything like that. But this is a fresh take; it's new, and especially having that anime influence to it is great. I love that because I'm diving headfirst into anime every day, and I'm loving seeing what's out there. So to have that Sailor Moon nod when I first saw it, I was like, "Is that?" And I was like, "You know what? Well played." And if by some chance it has a reverse effect where somebody is watching this and they read a comment and says something about Sailor Moon, they go, "Oh, I want to know what that is," and they go back and they check out and they go, "Oh, this is what Sailor Moon." Then they go and they watch Sailor Moon. It's a win-win. You know what I mean? So when people have those comments like, "Oh, somebody, oh, I guess they never heard of," like those snide kind of comments that we had like back in like the early 2000s, that snarky stuff that we had with like Kevin Smith movies and Mallrats.
Yeah.
Look, being from New Jersey, also I know about and sarcasm. Just stop and just let people enjoy the stuff. They knew, like you're saying, they knew. They're animators, writers, artists, creatives will go back and they'll see who influenced them and they'll make those nods in there. If you read any comic, you look at the wording, look at the words that are used, look at the art, look at the background. You will find so many nods to things. Some you'll know, some you won't even know, but they'll be in there. I've read comics where I've seen like artists in there. Like I've read like Excellence, and I've been like, "Wait, is that Chuck?" And it was hilarious. And I was like, so I love stuff like that. It's great. I mean, and just say, "Oh, anime influence." Do you know how many times people have been influenced by the Kaneda motorcycle slide?
Yeah.
They did it in live action in Nope. So things like that are great. And if it has, like I said, if it has that reverse effect, awesome. I love it. And this is a fun series too, when you get to see characters in a different light.
Exactly.
Sometimes it's not about a real in-depth story about it. Sometimes just about having fun and enjoying it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And speaking of adaptations, this one is really cool. This is, yeah, I'm really excited for them in this one.
Yeah. So you the people they'll so comic fans will say, "Oh, I'm hyped about the Deadpool. I'm hyped about the boys. I'm hyped about whatever new and whatever popular comic book adaptation is about, or the Umbrella Academy, and all those are good shows and good movies. But this is the one, Inyanu is the one that I'm most hyped about. And I was about to say, because I have a personal connection, not even a personal connection. It's more so like the creator of, for people who don't know, Inyanu Child of Wonder is a series that was created, written by Roye Okupe, and he runs a publishing company called Youneek Studios. Yeah, Youneek Studios, and the brother and his team at Youneek have been putting in work for years, putting out the Youneek comic book universe, and it's basically kind of a superhero sci-fi universe set in, I think it's like kind of a near future Nigeria.
Yes.
Nigeria, yeah. So that you have series like EXO, you have series like Inyanu, you have series like, I think it's Malika, I think it's Michaela or Michaela. I know I'm mispronouncing the name.
Malika, I want to say.
Malika, yeah,
I want to say.
Malika. And then you now have, I think their new one is it Osiris? Um,
So,
Osiris, yeah. So there are a bunch of series that he's created his own like MCU style universe with all of these comic books, and then signed a deal with Dark Horse Comics to
yes.
uh, I don't know if it's just solely for like publishing and distribution, but now going into like bookstores and comic book stores, you see these books on the end caps. And one of the books is Inyanu, and it's a story about a young girl by the name of Inyanu, and she's orphan and she doesn't have any recollection. Like she doesn't her memory, like she has amnesia, but she has these abilities, like awesome super abilities, and it without giving too much away, the story goes like grand from there. So I definitely, and now it's being adapted into an animated series on I think it's a Cartoon Network and HBO Max, or maybe it's just Max. I can't remember exactly if it's both or not, but that's normally how it does. Cartoon Network first, and then it appears on Max. But Brandon Easton, a name that will come up, has come up probably a couple of times, or will come up plenty of times on here, is the head writer, lead writer in the writers' room. And it was just announced recently that the entire voice cast is composed of Nigerian actors or voice actors. So to say that I'm proud of Royer and like I say, Youneek Studios and just the team in general behind the scenes with this animation series, the animation team, our writers and voice actors is an understatement, but I tell people this, that Royer and is a part of this like generation of creators that I've personally come up with. Like I've watched him grow, and he is beyond talented. Like he's a great businessman, awesome creator, and actually just a decent human being. So once again, when I say I'm beyond hype for this to, for this story to be seen by a larger audience and people who follow, who are like animation fans, I'm happy. So I think this is the comic book adaptation that I'm looking forward to on a lot of different fronts, on many different fronts.
Yeah, this is going to be cool. Like, folks, as you can see, I'm showing you the website, excuse me, for our Youneek and in Inyanu especially. I mean, it's just I love this because again, it's set in Africa. You have like actual African writers and artists, everything there, and you're getting. It's not just what you see in Africa, where you see jungle and everything. You're just showing a totally different vibe and flow to Africa. You know, you're getting supernatural, but you also have sci-fi aspects. You have all different manners for Youneek, and this is big news. This is huge. This is awesome. I mean, yeah, congratulations to everyone who is involved. Congratulations to Roy and his vision and bringing everything to fruition. Youneek has been one of those companies that I like when I first started really getting into indie comics. It was a company that stood out for me. This is how long I've been following Youneek, and if you don't know about this T-shirt, what have you. And then the negative space, which y'all know is like one of the two art terms that I know.
XO.
And this is just awesome. And I forgot I even had this T-shirt, and I was like, oh, like getting rid of some stuff, and I was like, oh my god, yes, that T-shirt, yes, I love it. So we're gonna bring that back into our rotation this summer. So congratulations to him. This is what you do is step by step. It takes a long time, but step by step, and this is beautiful for them. I'm so happy, so proud of everybody there. Like I said, it's great. And it's another thing that we can have as far as adaptations and being able to watch, which I love.
Yeah. Well, no, I didn't mean to cut you. I'm sorry.
Oh no, and just it's just great. It is.
Yeah. One of the things that Antonio probably saw me rant about was yet another adaptation of 300. and the focus always being on Eurocentric empires or,
Mm-hmm.
the ancient history. So to have a good portion of the Youneek publishing, their books kind of focused on um, Nigeria or like ancient Africa is something that's different and something that I feel is needed. So having a fantasy adventure, set within this time or within this area, I think gives us more rather than just going back to the well of, and it's the stuff that we like, but like kind of Middle Ages or ancient Rome or some variation of that. So I think that at least, like I said, from the stills and from the animated series that I've seen, I think this is going to hit in a big way. So I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah. And folks, as always, whenever there is a comic book adaptation of whether it's a live action series, an animated series, what have you, we love that you're watching them. It's
Yeah.
great, it's awesome, it's cool. But if you like the characters and you like the stories that are in there, please go to your local comic book shop. Go in and say, hey, I just saw this. Do you have that comic here? I'd like to know more about it. Some of the characters, what have you. They'll be more than happy to tell you about it. Whether it's for you, whether it's for a family member, whether it's for a loved one, whatever, they'll be more than happy to tell you about it. And they'll even show you some books that are going to be similar to that, but maybe just outside of that story, that you might find that you really like, or that the person that you're getting the books for, what have you. Always there. It's very important that you always go back and check out the comic book shop. If you don't know where your local comic book shop is, here is a site. Excuse me. That is your comic book locator service. This is a great site. It'll tell you about comic books that are near you. It'll tell you about comic book news. It'll let you know about Free Comic Book Day, which is an actual day. If you do not know, yes, it is usually the first Saturday in May, where there will be certain comic books that you will get for free that are made for that day. They'll be from anywhere from Marvel, DC, Boom, whatever company it is. So please, like I said, if you enjoy comics, or if this is your first time, you don't know anything about comics, you watch this movie, you're like, oh, this is great. Want to know more about the character that did this? Go to your local comic book shop. We're more than happy to help you out with that, truthfully. All right. And I mean, I think our work here is done for today, folks. We will be back, I promise you. So on that note, I want to thank Robert, as always, sir. Thank you very much. Always appreciative of you. Folks, we will be back next time to tell you more about it. And until then, have a good day. All right. We'll see you. Peace.
Bye.